Greetings, I'm Laku, bringing you the basics of how runes work, what they are, how to get them, and how to use them. So let's get started right away. Runes are a type of drop that can be used on your hero's weapons and accessories, and they can either give a direct boost to the hero himself, such as attack speed or damage for example, or they can boost your total skill levels, which will affect your whole deck. Each item can hold up to 2 runes, meaning each hero can have up to 4 runes each. Rune stats are shown as blue lines at the bottom of the item, like shown in this picture over here. Some runes have limitations that they can, for example, only be used on weapons. And do note that if the rune has a flavor text, only one per deck applies. This means each rune like this can only be used once in your deck, and using multiple of the same type won't stack their stats. Runes that give individual stats to a hero can however be stacked. You can acquire runes as drops from dungeons. Now dungeons are quite similar to dragon battles, as you will always fight some minor monsters and face a boss. Let's take a look at beginner dungeon for example. To start this dungeon, you will have to pay 1 contract every time you enter. The entry cost is higher for more challenging dungeons, but the price of each dungeon type will always stay the same. Now dungeon will always have 1 boss, and you can see the chance of encountering each boss in any given dungeon run next to the boss images over here. Next to the boss, you see a line of different runes with percents next to them. These are the drop rates for each rune, and each boss only drops runes that are shown on the same line with it. The chance to acquire runes as drops is relatively low, which means you will most likely have to do numerous runs if you are looking for a specific rune. Also, note that unlike dragons, where you are always awarded a drop after defeating a dragon, you are not guaranteed to get a rune as a drop from a dungeon. Most of the time you will get absolutely nothing, and you will have to keep grinding until you eventually get the drop that you desire. After getting the rune you want, the next step is to apply it into the item you want it on. Now for this we will head to town and open up the forge. Now what we are going to be using here is the enchant window, and adding a rune has 2 steps. First, you will have to create a socket into the item you want to use the rune on, and only after that you can enchant the item with your rune. So to begin, tap the Add Sockets button, and from the pop-up window tap the button with the anvil icon to open up your item bag and select the item you wanna put the rune on. Make sure the item is in your bag and not currently equipped on your hero, or else you will not find it here. Now you can see at the bottom of the window what will it cost to add a socket to this item. Complete this action by tapping the Add Sockets button. Next step is to apply the rune into the socket you just made. So tap the Enchant button, and from the pop-up window, first tap the anvil icon again and select the item you just added the socket on. After that, tap the hammer icon and select the rune you wanna apply to the item. Now once more you can see the cost of this enchantment at the bottom of the window. And after making sure everything is correct, tap the Enchant button to complete this action. And with that you will have your first rune added to the item. Congratulations! Now if you wish to add a second rune, simply complete these 2 steps again. It is worth noting that it is much cheaper to add the first rune to an item than adding the second one. First socket and rune will always cost crystals and contracts, but adding the second one will cost you crystals and boxes. So it can be quite expensive, and I would consider adding the second rune only if the item is a really good one and you wanna keep it for a long time. The cost per action also depends on the tier of the item. So adding a rune to an E item for example is much more expensive than adding a rune to an S tier item. If you have added wrong rune to an item, you may use the Remove Stones button to remove them. Be warned though that this action will let you keep the item, but the runes will be completely destroyed and you are not getting them back. Hopefully this will be changed one day, but for now this is what we have to deal with. And that concludes the basics of how runes work, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to leave a comment down below. I will do my best to give you an answer, and I will do a follow-up video about runes pretty soon, and once it's out I will also link it down below so you can check that out as well once it's done. But for now I thank you for watching once again, and I hope you find this video at least a little bit informative and helpful for you, and I will hope to see you in the future as well. Thank you so much, stay safe, and goodbye.